Hi, I'm Mike, owner of the InGroove in Phoenix, Arizona. Today I'm doing the new arrival video for September 2nd, 2022. Okay, so a lot of restocks are coming in. That's kind of the new theme this last couple of weeks, is I'm seeing oodles of restocks coming in. A lot of stuff that should have never really been out of print, but that stuff is starting to come back into print. Decent amount of restocks. Also, I'll show you what's going on Whatnot this week. I've moved next week's Whatnot to this Sunday after the live stream. But first I want to tell you about the pre-orders that are coming out. A lot of really good pre-orders have been announced. First off, the Eagles, the next one step from Mobile Fidelity, is on the border. That is on its way to me now, so that's actually going to be shipping in the next couple of days. So I do have Eagles on the border. Alan Parsons, iRobot, the 33 RPM one step from Mobile Fidelity. I put that on the website. I don't have an exact ETA on that, but I think it's sooner than later. So I finally got that on the website. The next two Blue Note Classic Series titles both come out October 21st. All analog, cut by Kevin Gray, phenomenal series. Stanley Turrentine's Common Touch and Big John Patton's Oh Baby. I love that John Patton record. That is actually really good. Two titles that haven't been done in a while. Maybe the John Patton was part of the Blue Note 75th series, I'm trying to think, but not 100% sure, but those don't really sound that good anyway, so they don't count. Okay. The Charles Lloyd Trio, Ocean, that comes out September 23rd. These are all available on the website for pre-order, and I think one of the coolest titles of this entire list is the futuristic sounds of Sun Ra on Savoy. All analog, cut by Kevin Gray. That is a title that is notoriously hard to find clean. All Sun Ra records are either a combination of people were partying with them, or they were made on, for instance, in the instance of his own label, the Saturn stuff, they were made on really crummy vinyl. So you're going to be able to get that for, a reasonable amount of money. All analog, cut by Kevin Gray. So that's like a no-brainer. So I'll give you guys an update. The Sunday live stream that I normally do with Angel, the first Sunday every single month, I'm going to schedule that this Sunday for 11:30 Arizona time. We're going to do Whatnot the same day. I didn't plan on doing a Whatnot auction, but I'm going to do it anyway. So I'm going to do it at 2 o'clock Arizona time. So we're going to do both of those actually here at the store. So in the sound room, we're going to go back there and we're going to do the live stream. And then right afterwards, we're going to do the live auction on Whatnot. If you're not familiar with it, I've talked about it quite a few times, but I live stream records that I auction off live. Everything starts at $10 or whatever the pre-bid is. It's like an absentee bid for you guys who are familiar with auctions. We start at that price, and whatever it sells for, it sells for. I'll show you a few of the things I'm going to put on the Whatnot auction. But yeah, that'll be that day. So if you're not purchased anything on Whatnot before, you just want to take a look around, there's a link below. Click on that link. That'll send you over there. The first purchase you made using that link, we'll give you 10 bucks off that first purchase. So yeah, I also implemented channel memberships a couple of weeks ago. I didn't really mention it to anybody until last night's live stream. Essentially what that is, and nobody needs to do it, but if you're on a mobile phone, you're not going to be able to see it. But if you're on a desktop and you look below the video, you'll see a button that says join. There's two tiers. One costs like 99 cents, one costs $1.99. The cheaper tier essentially is going to be like a lot of behind the scenes stuff. So for instance, I have a poll right now on there asking you which of the next two shootout videos you would like me to film first. Those are the next two shootouts I'm going to do, and I'm going to film whichever comes out on top this week. The second tier, which is $1.99 a month, will actually give everybody early access to all the videos I do. So like for instance, I'm actually filming this video right now on Wednesday night. When the store closes, I film this video, I go home, I process it, I schedule it to be uploaded at 6 o'clock, and that's it. But if you're on that top tier, the $2 a month, you're actually going to be able to see this within the next couple of hours. So not only that, but you'll have early access to the shootout videos and pretty much everything I do. Again, it's not something that you have to do, but if that stuff interests you, it's kind of a way of supporting the channel, supporting the videos, the shootouts, that kind of thing. If you don't care about any of that stuff, you can just go on business as usual. Every single one of these shootout videos will still come out eventually. All the new arrivals will still come out 6 o'clock a.m. Arizona time on Thursday, like they have every single week for the last 2 years. So that's not going to change. Okay, let's take a look at this week's new arrival video. All right, got a restock on this. This actually isn't new, but I don't know if I ever showed it because this was sold out in pre-order before I ever got it. Before I showed it, before it came in the very first time. So that is Cake's Fashion Nugget. Before this reissue, an original was going for like 300 bucks and you could never find them. I did a pre-order on it. I think I had a pre-order of 76 when it first came out. And I sold like one more than I actually got. And I had one guy ordered two and I just sent them one instead and told him like, look, not enough to go around. But I actually got the rest of my original order. So here it is, Cake's Fashion Nugget. Don't know if this is going to be an in-stock item or if this is kind of like a one and done, whatever's in the system floating around. I don't know. Third Eye Blind. This is self-titled, yeah. Semi-Charmed Life. Man, I don't know if I've heard that since the 90s. It's been a long, long time. But yeah, Third Eye Blind. Who's doing this? This is just a normal Rhino reissue. Not a bad cover. It's got the foiling. All right. From ORG, I've not had these in a couple of years. Diana Krall's Love Scenes. This is cut by Bernie Grundman. These are numbered. I thought they did originally. I don't know. I thought originally these were like 2,500, but that's probably not the case because this is 2,756. There is a normal universal version, I believe, of this in print. This is the one to get. The cut at 45 RPM by Bernie Grundman. These are the ones to own. Also, the same goes for All For You. The whole series, now these are the only two I think I have. I might have a third in stock. Yeah, this is numbered as well, 3162. But this whole series, you want the Bernie Grundman cut copies. I mean, that's just a no-brainer, right? 45 RPM, mastered by Bernie Grundman, pressed at RTI, big, thick, stout cover. These are the ones you want. It's been a couple of years. Okay, so got a little bit of space on the top 100 imprint analog records you should own. Saw a little blurb on this record. Now, this was not really advertised well, much like the Monkees that they did. Curtis Mayfield's Superfly soundtrack. Now, the Monkees, they mentioned it was analog, but then I got it. It looked good. Well, let's hear this. You know, clean Monkees, not easy to find. Let's check it out. Crack it open. Boom. Kevin Gray's in the Dead Wax. Listen to it. It's unbelievable. Same thing happened here. We've got Curtis Mayfield's Superfly. This is a 2-disc set. Disc 1 is all analog, cut by Kevin Gray. And this record will frost your flakes. I mean, it is unbelievably good. I had such a joy listening to this, 4 times this last 2 days. The bonus disc is killer, I don't know if you'll be able to tell whether it's, it's dynamite. Really, really good. Run Out Groove has been on a tear lately. The Monkees I added to my top 100 imprint analog records you should own list, and I'm also doing it to this. Curtis Mayfield. I don't know how many of these they're going to make, but as of now, I still got the Monkees in stock, and I've got this. The mobile fidelity of this at 45 RPM was also analog, extremely good, but it's out of print and goes for some bucks now. This is in print, and it's right here, right now. Includes a poster, and you also get a turntable mat. So double disc, you get the album. The bonus stuff is just killer. You got demos, instrumentals, you got a radio spot on there, Freddy's Dead instrumental, Pusher Man, an alternate mix with horns. Man, I can't talk highly enough about this record. It is really, really good. One of the cool things I like that the Run Out Groove does as well, you can kind of see in there, it's in a loose-fitting sleeve, but they put the records in between the gatefolds so there's no chance of seam splits. So I got a little space on the top 100 imprint analog records you should own list due to some recent drop-offs. But this is on there, and it's worth every penny. And it's inexpensive. It's a double disc, a poster, it's slip mat, it's under 40 bucks. Journey, Escape. Speaking of an all-analog cut by Kevin Gray, Slammer, we've got Journey's Escape. 40th Anniversary Edition, 2021 remaster from the original tapes, which means nothing. Pressed on 180 gram black vinyl. I believe this is the Robert Ludwig mastering, which I hear is good. I do not believe this is all analog. I believe this is sourced from the original tapes, like every record is, or has the original master tape somewhere in the source. But yeah, it is a record that needs to be in print. Originals of this are getting to the point, like I got to clean one of these to put out in the bin like once a year. It's like a joke at this point. And when I do put them out, they're gone like instantaneously. So to have this in the bin is going to be great. Thelonious Monk. Black Lion, let's see, mastered from the original analog tapes by Bernie Grundman. More than likely this is analog. It's done by ORG when they specify that. Mastered from original analog tapes by Bernie Grundman. That is generally the case. So 180 gram audiophile vinyl pressed at Palace. The third installment of Monk's final session as a leader. The Black Lion stuff that ORG's done has been actually really good. They've done, you know, not only Monk, but they've done some other artists. All right, Puma Blue. I have no idea what this is. In Praise of Shadows, made in Sweden. Let's see, Blue Flowers. Yeah, there you go. No clue. Ordered it for some reason. Kenny Neal, Straight from the Heart. Is this on Alligator? What's this on? A lot of the stuff I order, I know what it is. But then there's some stuff, you know, I look at lists, the top titles coming out for the month or for the week. Some stuff is on there and I order it having, you know, no idea what it is. That was one of them. Voivod, Synchro Anarchy, the new album by one of the most fervently creative bands in the universe. You know, I didn't even know these guys were making new music. But yeah. Look at that, 2022. 180 gram vinyl and an A2 poster. Let's see, we got Blind Guardian, The God Machine from Nuclear Blast, strictly limited edition on marble vinyl. Title from Culture Factory. They do the one and done pressings. This is Ravens Rock Until You Drop on blue and purple smoke color vinyl. Although by that photograph, that just looks blue. But yeah. No Facts, White Trash 2. White Trash, 2 Hebes, and a bean. Okay. This is on, what is this on? Fat Wreck Chords. Limited Anniversary Colored Vinyl Edition. Ministry, live. Let's see, double splatter vinyl. Looks like kind of a gold and black splatter. We also have, this is John Prine, Aimless Love. The oh boy John Prine stuff is very, very hard, to say the least, to find. By this point in time, poor John wasn't really selling very many records, judging by the fact that I might have had this record come in the store one time in 8 years as an original. So these oh boy reissues, these are reissued on vinyl for the first time since its release. So these oh boy reissues are going to be needed for sure in the marketplace. Newest reissue of the Rolling Stones, Beggar's Banquet. Something that should have been in print this whole time. Here's a record that we really needed in print. Crosby, Stills, and Nash. We've got, you know, being that there's a Neil Young tie in here, I wonder what the sourcing is on this. It doesn't mention it. There's no Neil Sparks code on it because they kind of replicated that original textured foil cover. Everything but the photograph, which on the original was kind of glued on. But made in Germany. Let's check the info on that. Beautiful 2021 remasters. We'll assume not until proven otherwise. But it needed to be in print, and now it is. What is this? Derek Sharon? Planet X? Sheridan? We've got Townes Van Zandt. Live in Helsinki, 1993. Let's see. From Music on Vinyl, Sergei Tankin. Imperfect Harmonies. This is kind of a cool thing that Get On Down has been doing. Get On Down's been doing a lot of the later year Miles Davis Columbia stuff, which some of my favorite Miles stuff is that era. Kind of towards the end of his career, he started he did some covers of some pop tunes. He was doing more hip hop influenced stuff. And this is, I want to say maybe this is on colored vinyl, but has the Japanese obi. Let's see. But yeah, I think they did We Want Miles. I think I saw last week. Miles Davis, The Man in the Horn, I believe I have as well. So kind of cool that they're doing, because I mean, those records are not very common. You just don't see them very often. New album by Muse, Will of the People. This is the black vinyl version. Nitty Gritty does Bob Dylan. All right, so we got the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band doing Bob Dylan tunes. All right, the Mountain Goats Bleed Out. What is this? Looks just, yeah, it kind of looks like a soundtrack. 12 action-packed songs. Kind of looks like a soundtrack, but I doubt it is. I'm not familiar with the Mountain Goats. But here is their album, Bleed Out. Has an obi. And it includes 12 action-packed songs on limited edition Tuscan yellow vinyl. Full download card included. This is a restock of a title that I finally got complete. I had this for pre-order on the website forever. My original shipment, I believe, was absolutely demolished by UPS. And it was not available to reorder. So finally I got the remaining balance of that and figured I'd show it. It's not a new arrival, but it's the new arrival for the InGroove. Here's another title that is finally back in stock. Van Morrison, Moondance. Kevin Gray did this. It sounds fantastic. It's reasonably priced. Not been around for a while. Tool, Undertow. Maybe a month ago I had, other than Fear and Inoculum, there was no Tool in the store. I believe I got the Opiate EP, and now I've got a repress of Undertow going on there. Alanis Morissette, Jagged Little Pill. Kind of one of my favorite albums from the 90s. Really dig this record. It sounds fantastic. Highly recommend that record. Donald Fagen's The Nightfly. Finally got a restock on that. Let's see, I think we're into mostly restocks at this point. And then I'll kind of show you the stuff that's coming out on Whatnot. So we got Donald Fagen's The Nightfly. This, from Impex, I was out of them for a little bit, but this didn't come out too long ago. Saturday Night in San Francisco. This is the one to own. Impex did it. There's a European pressing of this record going around out there. You don't want to buy that one. You want to buy this one if you have the option. I had one guy email me. He's like, oh man, Mike, you recommended this record. It's not any good. And I'm like, no, that's not possible. Check your stereo. Emails me back and says, you know what? I think it was Ear Music, or there was another label in Europe that got the license of this. And they're like, how about the wrong one? Then he gets the Impex version, emails me back, and he's, holy cow. This is the one to own. Dynamite record. Yeah, really good. Little restock of Japanese records. Sonny Rollins, The Bridge. I've showed these a couple of times. I always show them when I get restocks because they don't really last that long, but they did a great job manufacturing-wise. The original cover's been replicated, nice heavy cardboard. They ship it in a 12-inch DJ sleeve. This particular series, the Sony stuff is actually done at Sony Japan. I don't think this has ever really been mentioned by me or anybody else, but from what I've heard from these, if I was to have to rate the absolute best pressing plant right now in the world, it might be Sony Japan. What they're putting out is unbelievable, and I have not had a record that hasn't been absolutely positively flawless. So flawless in a sense, they almost look, like a normal record. You look at a record, you can kind of tell like this is a handmade item. It's from a record. I mean, these Japanese records are so flawless, just like they were pumping out in the 80s, in the 70s, the quality. Not talking about the mastering, but we're talking about the quality. And that's what you're getting out of Sony Japan now. So try some of these Sony Japan records out. You know, the mastering is different. Some of them are good. The Miles Davis stuff that they did, it's done from DSD. It sounds fantastic. Barney Weiland. Yeah, this is pressed at Sony Japan. I get some Warner titles from time to time. Those are actually done at Optimal, sent to Japan, and then they're paired with a Japanese cover. But the Columbia stuff, owned by Sony now. So Solo Monk, Sony Japan. Ryuichi Sakamoto, I actually think, let's see, I think vinyl mastered by Bernie Grundman. Yeah, Bernie Grundman did this. So Bernie's legend extends all the way to Japan because they sought him out to do this for him. And I want to say this is, let me see, this great tracks. I don't think this is a Sony Japan. So this might be Sony Music Direct. Oh yeah, Sony Music Direct. So this should be a Japanese pressing as well. Miles Davis Milestones. This is mono. Yeah, this is the mono Sony title. This is one of the newer ones. Miles Davis, 4 and more. Ignore the analog there where it says analog jazz. I believe that the Japanese refer to most LPs as analog because it is an analog format. The mastering could be digital, but the record itself is analog, unlike a CD where the record itself is ones and zeros, it is digital. So a lot of people have emailed me on that. Hey, it says analog. It's like, yeah, don't pay attention to that. All right, here is actually a Warner title, which is, if you look on the back there, they put it in English. It's actually done at Optimal. Cover and everything, still really high quality. And this was actually the inaugural title that they did at Sony Japan. This was the first record I listened to. And when I heard this, I was like, whoa, that's awesome, man. Mastering choices, nothing like they were doing back in the 80s. Let's put it that way. This is a great sounding record. Probably DSD. But yeah, 52nd Street. The inaugural record to kick off the Sony Japan pressing plant. The Bill Evans album. Another Sony Japan. Again, they're all the same. High quality cover. Kind of similar to what, actually they're a little bit better than what a first pressing American cover would have been. Just a restock of David Bowie's Heroes. Should have been in print, but it wasn't. Start your ear off right. The Steve Wilson remix of Jethro Tull's Aqualung. I think this is pretty much at this point the preferred version of this. This is really reasonably priced. I cannot keep this record in stock. I mean, it's fantastic, but I've been showing it every couple of weeks because it sells out every time. Ennio Morricone themes. This is a limited to 1,500. I probably sold most of them. But limited to 1,500 on red and silver vinyl. I want to say there's 6 of these in the theme. The Western one is the one that keeps selling out. I probably have most of the other ones in stock. They did lounge. They did a horror theme. I think they did a crime theme. They did a Passions. This is the one that everybody goes for. I mean, in America, he's definitely most known for his spaghetti western, so I can see that being the case. Here we go. Buena Vista Social Club, mastered by Bernie Grundman. I think Bernie Grundman's the only one that has ever mastered this. This record sounds fantastic. If you've ever heard it, whatever incarnation, whether it's the classic records, this pressing, the last pressing, the vinyl release pressing, they all sound fantastic. From Mr. Bongo, let me screw this poor guy's name up. Manuku Quartet. Knew nothing about this before I showed it to you guys a couple months back. He is kind of a legend in South Africa. This record is recorded exceptionally well. It sounds really good. It's in a really thick cardboard sleeve. The only drawback to it is the sleeve is like a little bit taller than a normal sleeve, so that's been kind of driving me a little nuts. But special half-speed mastered and cut at Abbey Road Studios. But this sounds really good. I mean, typically when you're buying South African jazz records, you know, your expectations is on the ground. So my expectations were like, this is going to be horrid. But it wasn't. This was actually really well done for what it is, and it sounds good. This is also a dynamite record. Everybody that I've turned on to this has just been blown away how good this is. Speaking of the Ennio Morricone, that's the lounge cover. Let's see, number 140. Got a restock of Pearl Jam's 10. Restock from the Black Jazz series that's been going out. First ever vinyl reissue. Henry Franklin's The Skipper. This is kind of like my forte. I really love the avant-garde stuff. Don't really get to play it in the store. My wife goes crazy on me if I do. Makes her want to hurt me. So we try not to play it too much. But legendary series. Almost every record in that Black Jazz catalog is like a $100 bill if you could ever find it. Really good stuff. Eddie Hazel. This is a fantastic record. I showed it once a couple months back, 3 or 4 months ago. Haven't had it since. Extremely difficult record to find. Fantastic funky guitar player. There's a couple of covers on here that are awesome. He does just a fuzzy version of California Dreamin' by the Mamas and the Papas. And he also does the Beatles song, where is it? I Want You, She's So Heavy from Abbey Road. This record is awesome. I think I've seen one original in the wild like my entire life. It is not an easy record to find. Colin Blunstone. He's God, I'm drawing a blank here. He's the lead singer of pretend I didn't say anything because I'll be wrong and then I'll get nailed in the comments. Let's see. Celebrate the 50 years with his post-Oracle opus, 1 year. Yeah, this is from Sundays. Looks really well done. Double disc. We've got 1 year. Album 1 is 1 year. Album 2 is the same year. By Sundays. Cigarettes After Sex. Got a couple restocks. Actually, what is this? Might not be a restock. No, that is. That's the same record. Somebody threw it in here twice. Okay, I know it's early. It's the beginning of September, but this is when the Christmas albums start coming out, and this is when you want to buy them. Don't go looking for Christmas records in December. There are none. You might be lucky to find, the worst Christmas record ever. Maybe. Even the dollar box with the crappiest Time Life box sets and records, Christmas related, they're gone. So now's the time. And this is a good soundtrack. Home Alone. This is on clear red and green Christmas party color vinyl. This is an awesome Christmas movie, and this is actually a good soundtrack. I mean, this has Darlene Love. Let's see, Mel Torme, John Williams, Carol of the Bells. It's a great movie. It's actually the second movie I ever seen in the movie theater. As a kid, the first movie I was ever taken to was Arachnophobia. I have nightmares about spiders to this day from being taken to Arachnophobia as maybe was I 9, 10 years old. But the second movie I ever seen was Home Alone. I wish we could have skipped Arachnophobia and just did Home Alone. I don't know what's wrong with my aunt, for instance, for even taking me to Arachnophobia. Maybe I was 8, 9 years old. Traumatized. To this day, traumatized. All analog by Kevin Gray, Buck Owens. From Sundays. The Sundays Buck Owens stuff is absolutely fantastic. None of that crappy reverb added by Capitol. This is a nice, clean, great sounding record. I showed this a couple of, maybe a year ago. This is great. From Modern Harmonic. This is the soundtrack to a lost film. Not even, nobody's ever, not known to really exist. They found the tapes. I think the story's on the back here. I read it a while back. They found the tapes in like a shed. They know the movie came out because they saw in a newspaper somewhere that it was premiering at a specific place. But yeah, this is really good. Party Girls. This is kind of a funky, kind of a schmaltzy, almost has like a 70s funky porno vibe kind of is where this is at. There's actually the theatrical trailer, the audio for the theatrical trailer on here. I would listen to just the theatrical trailer. We know the movie from the trailer is about a group of lesbians who have husbands kind of as cover, so they can kind of do what they want to do on the side. But yeah, this is really, really good. Musically, this is fantastic. You know, don't know anything about the movie. The movie probably was actually horrible. But musically, this is really good. Starting to get some more Radiohead. OK Computer restock. I think we got In Rainbows recently, so I've got hopes that the rest of the catalog is coming. Arctic Monkeys, Tranquility Base. We've got Arctic Monkeys, whatever people, what is the name of this? Whatever people say, that's what I'm not. And AM. Okay, let me show you a little bit of the whatnot auctions I'm going to do. This is only a couple because I haven't uploaded everything, but if you click the link below on this video, it'll take you right to the auction. If you go to the icon that says store, that'll show you what I'm auctioning. Oh, I also got some SACDs. Finally got the Saturday night in San Francisco SACD. Some Jennifer Warren's Impex 24 karat gold CDs. Famous Blue Raincoat. I've got the Well. Been years since I've had these. I've got the Hunter. I've got most of those on vinyl as well. Patricia Barba Nightclub. This is the CD. There is a Impex one step of this available for pre-order. Patricia Barba Cafe Blue. This is the gold CD. And yeah, that's the same one twice. Okay, for the whatnot, it's going to be a lot of really clean records, just like the last couple from the 70s. A lot of OG pressings, a lot of audiophile pressings. War, greatest hits. Cut by Kevin Gray on his new tube system. This was a record that nobody really cared very much about until Kevin Gray came out and said that it was done on his tube system, and now this record is shot up in price. Everybody wants it, and I get asked about it all the time. Clean original copy of Led Zeppelin's In Through the Outdoor. This is a Record Store Day title from a few years back. Sealed copy of the Bob Dylan Blood on the Tracks test pressing. This is actually a good record. I really dig it. Okay, so this is probably one of the coolest pieces. Miles Davis, Kind of Blue. This is the original Mobile Fidelity version of this. But before they ever released Super Vinyl as part of the, I don't know if you can be able to see it on the camera. Before they ever released Super Vinyl as part of, I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, you can see the lights coming through. Before they ever released Super Vinyl as a part of the One Step series, they did a small little limited run. They did about 500 Kind of Blues. They didn't tell anybody that they were releasing them on Super Vinyl, but they kind of did a little test run. They did about 500 of these. They kind of put them out into the wild without telling anybody, and then people just kind of discovered on their own. They're like, hey, my Kind of Blue is transparent. Then they announced a Super Vinyl, and we kind of figured out what it was. So, Kind of Blue on VR900 Super Vinyl. So I'm going to be auctioning that off. Starts at $10. Friday night in San Francisco from Impex. I don't know if it's currently in print, but I don't have it right now. Sealed copy of Bob Dylan's Blonde on Blonde, and there's going to be a lot more. So it's going to be 100 titles that I'm going to do for auction on Whatnot this week. But yeah, check it all out on the website at theingroove.com. Until next time.